Unfortunately, it's looking really bad for Lil Baby, and as I'm going to show you, the police have already been looking very closely into his operation, and this is just going to be the cherry on top, unfortunately, for prosecutors that have been coming for 4PF.
Lil Baby is under some serious legal trouble after shooting at the NFL player Keion White. He was forced to finally speak out publicly about this situation to try to clear his name, but it looks like the feds are already on their way. Before we get into what Lil Baby's response was, let me break down this whole story for y'all so y'all could understand this. Bro, this situation is absolutely wild, and I'm telling you right now, this might be the end of Lil Baby's career as we know it. And yo, before we dive deep into this madness, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button because we about to break down some crazy details that the mainstream media ain't telling you. No cap, this story got layers to it that's going to blow your mind. We talking about strip clubs, NFL money, federal investigations, and street politics all colliding in one night. Y'all are not ready for this. First, let me break down who Keion White is for y'all who don't follow football like that. This ain't just some random dude. We talking about a 27-year-old NFL defensive end who's 6'4" and 285 pounds of pure muscle. This man gets paid millions to literally tackle people for a living, fam. The 49ers just traded for this dude from the New England Patriots back in October, and he was having a breakout season. We talking about a professional athlete who's worked his whole life to get to the NFL, making that generational wealth, living the American dream. And in one night, all of that almost got taken away because of some rap beef nonsense. What makes this even crazier is that Keion White ain't even from the streets like that this is a college-educated professional who stays out of trouble, focuses on his career, and minds his business. So, for him to get caught up in this type of situation shows you how wild this whole thing really is. So, let me paint the picture for y'all on how this whole mess went down. It's February 9th, 2025, right after the Super Bowl. And we got parties happening all over San Francisco. The whole city is lit because they just hosted the biggest sporting event in America, and everybody's trying to celebrate. Now, Keion White, this 49ers defensive end who's making millions, decides to throw his own private Super Bowl party at this spot called Dia Lounge on Mission Street. But here's where it gets crazy. This wasn't just an irregular party, fam. We talking about a full-blown strip club situation with topless women, dollar bills everywhere, the whole 9 yards. The police report describes the scene like something out of a movie. They said when they walked in, there were numerous scantily clad females picking up dollar bills that were strewn all over the floor. Some of these women were completely topless and were clearly adult entertainers. We talking about a full strip club experience in a private setting. Now, here's where the story gets interesting. Lil Baby had just performed in San Francisco the night before as part of his tour. After his show, instead of going back to his hotel like a smart person would do, this man decides he wants to keep the party going. And guess where he ends up? That's right, trying to get into Keion White's private party. But here's the thing, Lil Baby and his crew weren't invited. According to the police report, Lil Baby's entourage was upstairs on the main floor of the club, but they wanted to get into Keion White's exclusive private party that was happening downstairs. Y'all already know how this type of stuff goes when you got rappers trying to crash NFL players' parties. Somebody's ego about to get bruised. So, picture this scene. Gang, you got Keion White, this 6'4", 285 lb NFL defensive end, who's used to hitting people for a living, surrounded by his friends and families celebrating his success. Then you got Lil Baby, who's maybe 5'8" in on a good day, rolling up with his crew, trying to get into this man's private section without permission. Now, we don't know exactly what was said during this confrontation, but witnesses told police that the argument got heated real quick. One witness said that Lil Baby's crew was being aggressive, trying to force their way into the private area. Another witness said that Keion White stood his ground and wasn't backing down from nobody. Think about it from both perspectives. Lil Baby probably felt disrespected because he's a famous rapper who's used to getting VIP treatment everywhere he goes. But Keion White probably felt like this is my party, my money, my space, and y'all ain't invited. Both of these dudes got big egos, and neither one was willing to back down. And this is where everything goes left. For real. For real. The witness told police that when the argument got too heated, he went upstairs to get the manager to help defuse the situation. But while he was gone, that's when he heard 2 gunshots coming from downstairs. When he came back down, the scene was absolute chaos. Keion White was on the ground with a bullet wound in his left ankle, bleeding everywhere. People were screaming, running, trying to get out of the club. The party atmosphere turned into a crime scene in seconds. That hurt 49ers defensive end Keion White. It happened early yesterday morning at a nightclub in San Francisco's Mission District. War partners at SF Standard report, White was hosting a Super Bowl party at Dia Lounge on Mission Street. At some point, White got into an argument involving rapper Lil Baby. That's when White was shot in the ankle. Nearby residents say they were woken up by police activity. But wait, it gets even crazier. Another witness said she heard 4 gunshots. Not just and when the police showed up at 4:06 a.m., they found not 1, but two different shell casings, a 9mm and a .45 caliber. That means either somebody had two different guns or two different people were shooting. Either way, this wasn't no accident. This was some serious street stuff going down. Window is like right by my bed. And so, I saw lights, like I think that's why I woke up at first. I think I kind of knew that it wasn't like the most safe place, but honestly, I mean like it kind of seems part for the course. Like I'm not like entirely like how could this happen here? The police also found an abandoned cell phone at the scene. Now, I ain't saying it belonged to anybody in particular, but you know the Fed's going to be checking that phone for fingerprints, DNA, call logs, text messages, everything. That phone might be the key piece of evidence that brings somebody down. The police report paints a wild picture of what they walked into. At 4:06 a.m., officers responded to reports of shots fired. And when they got there, the scene was like something out of a movie. They said there were still partygoers trying to leave. Topless women sweeping up dollar bills and blood on the floor where Keion White had been shot. One officer wrote in his report, "As I entered, I saw numerous scantily clad females picking up dollar bills that were strewn all over the floor. Some of the females were topless and appeared to have been adult entertainers." Can you imagine being a cop walking into that scene at 4:00 a.m. with gunshots, half-naked women, and money everywhere? And here's the part that shows Keion White is really about that life. When the police asked him who shot him, this man said nothing. He kept his mouth shut, didn't snitch, didn't cooperate. The police report specifically says, when asked who had shot him, White was uncooperative. That's some real street code right there. Even though he's an NFL player, making millions. Now, let me break down why this situation is so much worse for Lil Baby than y'all might think. This ain't his first rodeo with the law, and the feds have been watching him for a minute. We talking about years of investigation, surveillance, and building a case. See, Lil Baby has been trying to duck a RICO case ever since the Atlanta District Attorney Fonnie Willis announced that she was going after him and his whole 4PF crew. And when I say going after him, I mean they get a whole task force dedicated to investigating his organization. The feds don't just wake up one day and decide to investigate somebody. They've been watching Lil Baby's moves, tracking his associates, monitoring his social media, analyzing his music lyrics. Everything. They got files on this man that probably thicker than a phone book. Let me tell y'all about the incident that really put Lil Baby on the Fed's radar because this story is absolutely insane. This man decided to go record a music video right in his ops neighborhood. We talking about enemy territory? Gang, that's like walking into a lion's den with a stake around your neck, then posting it on Instagram for everybody to see. So, Lil Baby and his crew pull up to this block in Atlanta where they know they go serious beef. We talking about a neighborhood where people have been killed over this rivalry, and instead of staying away, like any smart person would do, this man brings cameras, lights, his whole production team, and starts filming a music video like he owns the place. The video showed Lil Baby and his crew flashing money, throwing up gang signs, and basically disrespecting everything about that neighborhood. They were taunting their enemies, showing that they could come and go as they pleased. And there wasn't nothing nobody could do about it. Now, you know how the streets work. You can't just disrespect somebody's block like that and think there ain't going to be consequences. The ops saw that video and felt like they had to respond. Their reputation was on the line. Their territory was being disrespected, and they couldn't let that slide. Sure enough, after that music video dropped and went viral, the ops came back and spun Lil Baby's block looking for revenge. They rolled up heavy, armed and dangerous, ready to send a message. But here's the tragic part. They didn't get Lil Baby or any of his crew. Instead, two innocent kids got caught in the crossfire and lost their lives. We talking about a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old who ain't have nothing to do with this rap beef. These were somebody's children, probably walking home from school or hanging out in their own neighborhood. And they got killed because of some stupid music video beef. New tonight at 11, police are working Tatri to find out who opened fire on the set of a music video reportedly featuring Atlanta's very own Lil Baby. The shooting happened just before 5 o'clock tonight. There is a map right here on your screen of where this all took place on Verbena Street. That's in the Dixie Hills neighborhood in the northwest part of the city. 3 men were shot just feet behind me in this parking lot. One shot in the neck, another man shot in the back, the third victim shot in the arm. The families of these kids were devastated. The community was outraged, and the feds looked at this situation and said, hold up, this music video directly led to a retaliatory shooting that killed 2 minors. That's when they started building a case that Lil Baby's actions were what caused those kids to die. The authorities started treating this like a RICO case, saying that Lil Baby wasn't just a rapper, but the leader of a criminal organization. Those suspects, as far as the 3 victims, they are expected to survive. As of this hour, Lil Baby's team has not commented on the shooting. They argued that his music video was essentially a gang activity that resulted in murder and that made him responsible for those deaths. They started investigating everybody in his crew, looking at their criminal histories, their social media posts, their financial records. They got wiretaps, surveillance footage, informants, the whole federal investigation playbook. And RICO cases don't play around. Gang, we talking about 20 years to life if they can Macite stick. The feds also started analyzing his music lyrics, saying that his songs were basically confessions to criminal activity. Every time he rapped about violence, drugs, or street life, they treated it like evidence of his criminal enterprise. The 4PF 2-glass window transition. Now, Lil Baby ain't stupid. When he saw the heat coming, he made some strategic moves to try to distance himself from the street stuff. The first thing he did was end his label, 4PF, which stood for 4 Pockets Full, because the feds were treating it like a criminal organization instead of a music label. But here's where it gets interesting. He started a new label called Glass Window, and the name choice wasn't random. Let me break down the psychology behind this rebrand for y'all. The name Glass Window is supposed to represent transparency, like he's got nothing to hide. Everything is see-through and legitimate. It's his way of saying, look, I'm not on that street stuff anymore. Everything I do is clean and above board. Y'all can see right through me because I got nothing to hide. He also changed up his whole image. Instead of posting pictures with guns and drugs, he started posting about his business ventures, his charity work, his family. He was trying to show the world that he had evolved from a street rapper to a legitimate businessman. Lil Baby also started distancing himself from what people call crash dummies. Those are the people in your crew who make stupid decisions that can bring heat on everybody. He cleaned house, got rid of people who were too connected to the streets, and tried to surround himself with more professional people. He hired legitimate business managers, accountants, lawyers, people who could help him navigate the legal system and keep him out of trouble. He started investing in real estate, restaurants, and other legitimate businesses to show that his money was coming from legal sources. But here's the problem, gang. You can change your label name, you can switch up your crew, you can hire all the lawyers in the world, but if the feds already got you in their sights, it's hard to shake that heat. And this hooding in San Francisco just gave them more ammunition to use against him. Now, let's talk about why this San Francisco shooting is probably going to be the nail in the coffin for Lil Baby's freedom. When you shoot an NFL player, you ain't just dealing with local police anymore. You've got multiple agencies involved, multiple jurisdictions, and way more resources being thrown at the investigation. First, you got the NFL involved. The National Football League is a multi-billion-dollar organization that protects its players like they're precious commodities. When one of their players gets shot, they don't just sit back and hope the local police handle it. They got their own security team, their own investigators, and they work closely with law enforcement to make sure justice gets served. Then the situation reportedly started pulling in bigger attention when conversations online began, mentioning the 49ers organization. According to speculation circulating among fans and commentators, the team recently invested heavily in bringing Keion White into their roster. Now people are saying that if any serious incident were connected to him, it could potentially impact that investment in a huge way. Again, these are discussions and theories floating around, not confirmed events, but they have definitely caught the attention of sports and entertainment audiences alike. People online are also pointing toward statements that were reportedly shared by local officials. Discussions mention San Francisco leadership addressing concerns about public safety, emphasizing that any violent situation in the city would be taken seriously. When public figures and major sports organizations are even rumored to be monitoring a situation, fans immediately assume things could escalate into something much bigger. That kind of attention makes people believe the issue would never simply fade away quietly if it turned out to be real. Another layer that fans keep debating involves jurisdiction and how cases sometimes expand when events are said to involve multiple states. Lil Baby is widely known to be connected to Atlanta, while the rumored incident is being discussed as happening in California. Legal commentators online often mention that situations crossing state lines can sometimes trigger federal interest, especially when major industries like professional sports or entertainment are involved. Again, these are speculative conversations happening among commentators, not verified legal developments. Some discussions online have also connected these rumors to broader legal theories, like RICO investigations. Fans and internet analysts frequently explain how federal agencies sometimes use RICO laws when they believe there is a pattern of organized criminal activity. Supporters and critics alike have debated whether situations involving celebrities can sometimes become part of larger legal narratives. However, there is no official confirmation linking any of these theories to Lil Baby, and most of this conversation is coming from online speculation, rather than confirmed court action. From a hypothetical legal perspective, commentators often explain that situations involving serious violence could involve both criminal charges and civil lawsuits if they were ever proven true. Discussions across forums mention possible charges like assault or conspiracy when violent incidents are alleged. Legal analysts often explain that penalties in states like California can be extremely severe in cases involving weapons. At the same time, civil lawsuits sometimes focus on financial damages, lost career opportunities, medical costs, and emotional suffering. Fans discussing the sports side of the rumors have also talked about how professional teams sometimes pursue financial compensation if an athlete's career is affected by outside incidents. The idea that a major NFL franchise could protect its investment has been heavily debated online. Supporters argue that sports organizations are known for defending their assets, while others believe legal battles like that can become complicated and drawn out. Meanwhile, commentators claim that situations like this often place celebrities in extremely difficult public positions. If an artist publicly denies involvement while evidence appears to suggest otherwise, critics might accuse them of dishonesty. If they acknowledge being present during an incident, they risk fueling further speculation. If they remain silent, the public sometimes assumes guilt even when nothing has been proven. This kind of pressure often creates a conflict between legal advice and public relations strategy. Legal experts frequently explain that defense teams usually recommend staying silent while investigations unfold, while public relations teams sometimes push for statements to protect careers and reputations. Those two strategies can completely clash, which creates a complicated situation for any public figure facing controversy. Fans often forget how carefully celebrities must balance legal protection with public perception. There has also been discussion about how the music industry typically reacts when artists become connected to major controversies. Record labels, streaming services, concert promoters, and sponsors sometimes distance themselves from artists facing serious allegations, even before any legal outcome is reached. Fans have seen similar situations happen in the past, where artists lost endorsements, shows were canceled, and music exposure decreased dramatically. Sports organizations, particularly something as powerful as the NFL, are often viewed as having enormous influence and financial strength. Commentators frequently mention that leagues have relationships with broadcasters, sponsors, and media platforms that can shape public narratives. Again, this is general industry discussion. And not tied to confirmed actions, but it highlights why fans believe conflicts involving sports, leagues, and entertainers could become extremely serious. Another factor fans keep debating involves regional dynamics and street politics. Commentators often talk about how different cities have their own cultures, alliances, and unwritten rules. Discussions online suggest that artists sometimes underestimate local dynamics when traveling outside their home regions. Supporters argue that cultural pride and community loyalty can intensify reactions when outsiders are rumored to be involved in conflicts with local figures. Some fans have also discussed how NFL players are often viewed as community heroes, representing pride for their cities. If any incident were ever perceived as targeting a local sports figure, public reaction could become even stronger. This adds another emotional dimension to rumors because it blends entertainment, controversy with civic pride and cultural identity. Looking toward possible outcomes. Online analysts often speculate about how federal investigations sometimes build cases over long periods of time. Commentators explain that RICO cases, when they happen, usually involve extensive evidence like surveillance, financial records, communication tracking, and witness testimony. However, it is important to remember that these are general explanations of how federal cases work, not confirmation of any investigation connected to Lil Baby. Fans predicting worst-case scenarios often talk about how serious federal charges can carry long sentences, while plea deals sometimes reduce punishment but still involve significant consequences. These discussions are common whenever major celebrity controversies trend online, especially when legal topics like RICO are mentioned. Many commentators also use these rumors to discuss the broader struggle artists face, balancing street credibility and mainstream success. Fans frequently debate whether maintaining a tough public image can create risks once artists reach global fame. Supporters argue that authenticity is important in hip-hop culture, while critics say financial success should encourage artists to avoid dangerous environments. Throughout all these conversations, many fans describe the situation as a reminder of how quickly success can be overshadowed by controversy. Supporters emphasize that artists often carry enormous pressure from their past environments, while critics argue that fame should come with responsibility and caution. Ultimately, most of the discussion surrounding this situation remains speculation fueled by internet chatter, commentary videos, and fan debates rather than confirmed facts. Situations like this often grow larger online than they appear in reality, but they still capture public attention because they combine celebrity, sports, legal drama, and cultural conflict into one intense narrative.